apologize. I may actually, post the record for another section. So I missed, I missed part of the recording. So I apologize for that. So what is okay, the index is 0, right? So Windows 10, the index is 0 for the element of Windows 10. And then the second one, Windows 7, is index 1. And index 2, index 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The other is the index 7. So, okay. So, so the so when I actually put the number 1 to 8, this number will be assigned to the nth in OS. So then what I'm gonna do is when I print the order of the operating system, I'm gonna use the like a first, second, and a third, not 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why they're gonna switch to the other, use the number suffix, because if I use the first, if I import 1, normally I'm gonna say, oh, the first one operating system is Windows 10. So normally I'm gonna put the 1 ST. ST means first. Okay. Now if it's a second, it's a 2 ND, and the third is 3 RD, and the fourth, fifth, then you don't normally put the TH over here. So that's why I actually create a method called get number suffix. So when I put the number like a 1, 2, 3, 4, this get number suffix, they're gonna add the suffix, okay, after the number I just put in there. Okay, so if I actually put the number 1, then after you call the get suffix, you're gonna return 1 ST. Okay, if I actually import 2, you're gonna import 2 and ND. So something like this. So if NTH is greater than 1 and less than or equal to 8, so that means that's a legitimate value of NOS. So we expected that you're going to import the value which is between 1 and 8, right? So that's the checking I'm going to do. So once this is true, then you're going to actually print out, say, that's a string, the whatever the number you put in there. If you put a 1, that means the first most popular OS is, and then that's the operating system, and the get nth OS minus 1. Okay, that's the index. Because when you actually import the value, you import the value from 1 to 8. So the first actually operating system is Windows 7. So that's the first window. Oh, I'm sorry. First one is Windows 10. But in terms of index, when I put the number 1, the index is actually 0. When I put a 2, then index is 1. So that's why the index is always actually minus 1. Okay. So this is actually what happens. So let me just run this code again. So it says enter, and so if I enter 3, okay. So if I enter 3, then the NTHOS gonna get the number 3. So the 3 is definitely greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 8. So then I'm gonna print out the get a number of suffix, because then I check this, and if the number is in this range between 1 and 3, then I'm gonna return number plus the first 3 number minus 1. So if number is 3, then you're gonna actually the number 3 concatenate with the string, which is the first, actually 3 minus 1 is the first 2. So that's the actually string. It's an array of string, like, right? And this is actually a second element of string, which is okay. I'm sorry, it's a third element of string, because that's RD. Because if number is 3, then it's a first 3, 2, the index 2. That's the third. The third element has an index 2, so that's RD. So you're gonna return plus n plus RD. So it's a 3 RD. Okay. So you're gonna be 3 RD most pop. So the third most popular OS is Mac OS. So that's Mac OS. That's the third one. Okay. So this is a small trick that allows you to play with the uh, uh, each of the operating system. Okay. So if I put the again, if I put the number 8, that means that's the last choice. Last choice is other, so the index is 7, and so the 8th most popular OS is other. So whatever, it's not really. So that means um, it's not a particular operating system. So in this case, we actually use the array list. The element for the array list is a string. So I can create a string of array list of a string. So I can manipulate all this. Okay. So this is one simple example. And the second example I want to talk about is the what is it called? Oh, okay, array list example. Okay, not this one. Let's see, what's the second one? Okay, I used the array list with loop. Okay, so let's see. Uh, oh, I don't think that's the one. Okay, I don't think I include anything. But let's actually take a look at another example of array list. Okay. Um, so that's another example. I just putting a class called array list example. And so I have a main method. I create the array list of string. Again, it's a string example. And aliens equals new array list. So it's an array list of a string. Okay. So initially the A list is empty list, right? So then I start to add elements to the array list. So I just call a list dot add. So I add a name. Add. The first name I add is Steve, Kim, Lucy, Pat, Angela, Tom. So I basically add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I add a sixth name, and then I can just say I can print the list, a list. Okay. So I just printed this out. Let's actually comment the next one out first. So I printed this one out. I print a list. Okay. So I add a list and I print a list. So let's say Java C and array list example. Okay. So then I can execute this. Okay, so after add, I print the list out. The list contains Steve, Tim, Lucy, Pat, Angela, Tom. Okay. Now the next one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add one more items. I add another Steve. Okay, and then I just try to print the list again. Just compile it again. So then I have Steve, Tim, Lucy, Steve. Okay. Now I add Steve in the index number 3. So that's why. So this is index 1 or 0, index 1, index 2. So I add Steve not at the end of the list. I add in the middle of the list. Now where I gonna add the Steve? I add Steve at the index 3. So basically I add Steve after index 2, which is Lucy. So then Steve is here. So I can use the add. And what is this? What is this called? I can call add just to put the name, or I can call add, put the index and the name. What is this called? So I use the add method, but in different way. This is called it's called a method overloading, right? So I can use a list and add. If I just if I don't specify the index, just add any name, then I just add the name at the end of the list. But if I actually put the index, then you can actually insert Steve into the list, not the end of the list. Okay, so I can print it again. And also, now sometimes people actually like to use the scanner to import these, you know, to add, add elements into the list. So the scanner basically allows us to use, manually type the name and put the name into the list. Now, why you want to use scanner? Because it's flexible. Because if I use the assignment, like use the function call, every time when I say when I add additional line like a list add another name, I have to recompile the code. But with scanner, I don't have to recompile the code. I just use it. Okay, I just use the scanner and run the program again and add again, run the program again and add again. So let's say scanner. Okay, I say my scan equals new scanner. Remember how to use the scanner system dot in. Okay, so I declare my scan. So after I actually call this a list add 5, 6 times, I decide not to use this add function. I'm still going to use the add function, but not directly put the value in there. So I'm going to use the add a list dot add. Now instead of directly put the name, the string in here, I call my scan dot. Now to import a string from the prompt for user import, what is the function I need to call for my scan? If you import the integer, what are you going to call? My scan dot my scan dot int, right? my scan dot next int, right? That's for integer. But what about if I want to import? If I want to import string, I think you just need to put the next. So this is gonna actually import the next word. Okay. Now, if you want to actually import the whole line as a string, then you need to put the what is called what's the function you're gonna call instead of next? You're gonna call next line, right? Okay. So I'm gonna put the next here. Next is gonna allow us to import the next word in the line. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna add this one after the Steve, the second Steve. Okay. I'm gonna put the list here and then print the list again. So let's compile it. So what is the, oh, sorry. I think I put the wrong, it's lowercase a list. Okay. When I execute the code, okay, I first gonna actually import all these 6 elements. Okay, Steve, and then I insert Steve into the index 3, and then I actually insert 3 and I print out. So I printed twice. And then the next one is a list dot add my scan dot next. So in this case, so I'm not going to add the actual string. I'm going to actually use the my scan to import the string. So I'm going to say the next one I'm going to add is Mary. Then I print it out again. So Steve, Tim, Lucy, and the last one is Mary. So I increase the list or add a list. Okay. Okay. So also, import in order to actually make it clear, so I can just say, okay, I'm gonna say print. See. Okay. So please enter name. I call Java Arraylist Example. Okay. So please enter a name. I say Mary. Then I add a Mary. Okay. So this way you can just use the a scanner to add additional element in there. So you can keep doing this. Um, so this is actually how we're going to use the array list. So array list allows us to create a list of elements, and these elements are reference type, like a string. Okay, or we can actually use this. You can define a list of integer, but in this case, then you have to use the wrap class. Integer. And then I need to add, in this case, I have to add a number, integer now. I'm actually only increased. I'm only going to add uh, three numbers. So then I can print, and then I just insert number into insert 50 into index 1. Okay, and then I can use my scanner. So please enter a number. So then when I say dot add my scan dot, if I want to actually import an integer, so what are you going to import? What function are you going to say? You're going to say next int, right? So then I can print it out. So let's see. Just okay. Now the array list becomes an integer list. Integer. So the first three integers, 12, 22, 40, and then I insert insert 50 into the index 1. So 50 is actually inserted over here in the one. And then the next one I used my scanner to import my number. So I'm going to put another number, 100. And then a new list is going to be 12, 50, 22, 40, 100. So so you can create a list of integers, but in this case, when you use the array list, you have to use the wrapper class. Okay, you have to use the wrapper class of the integer, not the primitive type of integer. You cannot put the array list, say int here. That's not going to work. Okay, so this is actually the application for array list. Now, what makes array list more interesting is you can even create a list of objects. Okay, not just a list of an integer, list of a string, and I can create a list of objects. So let's see. If I wish, I can create, I can continue to work on the bank account example. Remember the bank account example? I can create a bank account, right? And I create all these field variables, balance, account owner, account ID, and then I create a method like a bank account. These are constructor, and I create a method called deposit, withdraw. These are member actually method, and I also create various other method like a transfer. Okay, and then get balance, get account owner. So these are all the methods I created for the bank account. And then in the main method, I create my account, like a bank account, my list account, my savings account, John's account, and Ann's account. Okay, so I just do all this stuff. Okay, do the print statement. Now let's actually wipe out. Let's clean up all these, mess. And what I want to do is So I can here I can create an array list. Okay. Now the array list gonna actually give you a list of account. Okay. So it's a bank account. Remember, bank account is a class I just defined here. And I can create each instance of bank account, right? So, but now I want to create an array list, which is a bank account. Okay. So then I'm going to say account list. Okay. I create an array list called account list. And this account list contains a list of bank accounts. Okay. Okay. So then I create an instance of a bank account, say bank account, my checking account, my savings account, John's account, Anne's account. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I can add the account into the list. Okay. Okay. The second account I'm going to list is going to be my checkings account. Oh, I'm sorry. What? Looks like they changed everything. The first one is my checkings account, and then the second one I'm going to add is my savings account. And the third one I want to add is John's account. The last one is Anne's account. So I create a couple of actually account object. So the first one is my checkings account. I have a balance, an owner, and a balance, an owner. And then I create the John's account, which is calling the default constructor. And I create Anne's account, which actually I create the bank account owner and Johnson. Okay, so these are 3 accounts. And I actually create a list create a list which contains these four accounts. Okay. Now, if I create more accounts, I can add more accounts into the list. This is very nice, right? Because when I actually, when I try to do the coding for a bank, try to write the program and create the system for the bank. So it's always nice to create an array list, and each of the list is a bank account, a different account. Okay. Now, so then when I actually try to do it, I can do this. If I try to manipulate the first account, my checkings account, right? So then I can, first thing I try to do is I try to call system dot out dot print ln. So say what I'm gonna do? The first account, the owner of first account is, so I just say, I want to type the owner of the first account. Okay. Now, what is the first account? Okay, in the account list. So I'm gonna say ACCT list dot. So what is the first account?
My checking account.
Yeah, it's my checking account. But if I want to pull out the information about the first account in account list, what should I do? I need to call the method called get, right? For the first account, what should I get? Remember for the get, what's the argument I need to pass? It's the index. Okay. I try to get the account information for my first account. The index for my first account is 0. So my checking account is the first account in the account list, right? So my checking account is the first element in the account list. So the first element has an index 0. So when I say account dot get 0, this will get you my checking account. That's important. Any questions on this? Okay. Now, so this account list dot get 0 gonna give you the first account. And then if I try to get the owner of the first account, what are you gonna do? What you're gonna do? What would, you know, how should I get the owner of the account? I'm gonna call the methods that's defined in my checking account, the bank account, right? So get account owner. Do you get it? It's a little bit of
Slowly
confusion.
but surely.
Yeah. Let's actually compile it to see what happens. Compile Java C and bank account .java. So what's printed out? It printed out the name of the first account is Brady Chen. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. Let me compare these two. And then I can print also if I want to see what's the balance. Okay. So let's see. Now I have 4 accounts. So I try to manipulate the first account. First account, first bank account. SECOUNT in the the list in ACCT list. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, okay, so ACCT list dot get 0. So this will get you the first account, and then I'm gonna say deposit. Okay. So actually account list get 0. So just remember this account 0 get 0 actually returns my checking account. Okay. So this is equivalent to my checking account dot deposit. So then I can say, okay, so then I say the owner of the first account is account list dot get 0. That's the same as this. So that's my checking account, and get account owner. And that should be Brady Chen, right? This is actually the first one. Okay, my checking account. And the okay, the second one I want to say get balance, right? Because this is defined in the bank account class. Okay, so now let's see what's the result. Just compile it again. Okay. Everything is as expected. So the owner of the first account is Brady Chen. The owner of the first account is 1,000. Okay. Now just remember, account list dot get 0. This is actually, this returns the first element in the list. What's the first element? That's my checking account. Okay. So basically, it is the same if I just say, if I want to type, say, system, I print out like this. And then the owner of a source account is, instead of doing this, if I actually just type, okay, my checking account, this is going to be the same effect as by calling account list dot get 0, because account get 0 is actually the first element in the account get 0. The first element in the account list is my checking account. So when I call account get 0, that's the index 0, that's my checking account. And it's the same as directly type my checking account. So let's just check. Okay. So you pretty much get, oh, the owner of, oh yeah, so I just typed the owner, not the balance. So that, so get, so if I get owner by calling my checking account dot get owner, or my account listed dot get 0 dot get account owner, this is going to return the same result. It's both Brady Chen. Okay, the balance is the same. Okay, like this. So you can use this, instead of, this way, I can create a account list, and I can keep add account into the account list, which is an array list. Okay, I can just, account list is array list. I can keep adding into the account list. Okay. So you can use the account list dot get 0 and the my checking account interchangeably, because that basically means the same account. Okay. Now, if I change this to, say, get a 2, okay. Now what is this? What is get to? Account dot get to. What is this? What is this account?
It'll get my checking account and my savings account.
Now, what is 2?
2 is the index number.
Index number. And the index number 2. What is the index number? What is the corresponding element for index number 2 in my in account list?
Oh, it's John's account. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's John's account. Okay, it is John's account. Let's just quickly do this. So we are running out of time, but let me quickly compile it to see the result. So you're going to say the owner of the first. Now it's not the first account anymore. So it's a third. Yeah, it's the third account. TH. Yeah. Third account. Okay. So the first, the owner of the. Let's compile it again quickly. So the owner of the third account is John Doe. The owner of the first account, again, I don't know why the change is not reflected here. Is 00 because of John Doe. It's for John's account. I use the default constructor, right? So default constructor basically use the name John Doe and the balance 00. So this way I can use the account list to manipulate various different accounts, because this way I can just put all the accounts in the list. So I can organize the account very well. Okay, so that's the application for array list. Okay, so I'm going to post these code on the Blackboard so you can actually try to play with it and to see how this actually works. Array list is actually very useful tool, and you can actually, instead of actually create a list of integers, now you can create a list of objects like a bank account. So you can create like a 1,000 bank account and put in the list. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty much all for today. So you have any questions?
So far, no.
Okay. Okay. So you have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.